You said you couldn't do it because of policy. The officer wanted you to draw the patient's blood. He wasn't taking no for an answer, and then this happened. Alex, how did it get to that point?
I have no idea. I can't speak for Officer Payne, but what I can say is that I stood my ground. I stood for what was right, which was to protect the patient. As a nurse, any nurse, I think, would have done exactly what I did.
Did the officer explain? You were arrested. Look, you're being handcuffed
right
here on this video. Did he explain why he was arresting and handcuffing you?
Not to my knowledge. I knew that I was doing what was right, what was offered to me by a policy that I trusted and I believed to be lawful.
So what was going through your head while all this was happening?
I was scared to death. I was obviously very frightened. And I think since this has happened, I've been able to sort of surmise that I really feel betrayed. I feel betrayed by the police officers. I feel betrayed by my university police and security.
Why do you feel betrayed by your hospital security?
Because I called them. I went down into the emergency department to get help, to have someone protect me, because I felt unsafe from Officer Payne from the beginning.
And why is that? Why were you feeling immediately unsafe with him?
He was aggressive from the beginning. As a nurse, it's my job to assess a situation, to assess a patient. And my assessment skills led me to believe that Officer Payne was already agitated. He had already stormed off in disapproval when I had originally told him that he couldn't do this up on the unit itself.
What was he saying to you? I mean, we've heard just bits and pieces of it. Was he saying something to you that crossed the line?
Well, initially I had explained to him the three things: that unless the patient was under arrest, I needed to have an electronic warrant, and there was no family, and the patient could not consent for himself. And I said, I'm sorry. And he said, you're not sorry, and got very upset. And that was sort of the thing that triggered, this is not okay.
So when you called your own security, hospital security, then how did they respond?
By just standing there looking at their phones, telling me that they couldn't protect me.
Kara, is there any legal grounds that this officer had for arresting Alex?
None. He kept saying, you know, the patient, you know, has given implied consent, essentially just by driving in Utah. But the law that the officer purported to be relying on clearly didn't apply, because the officer admitted that there was no probable cause. And the Utah's implied consent law specifically requires probable cause.
Was the backstory here that he thought this was a drunk driving accident and he wanted to take the driver's blood to see if there was alcohol in it? Is that what it was about? So why was he so determined to have this driver's blood?
I'm not sure. I believe that it's my understanding that his watch command also instigated some of this. And you can see the watch commander, Officer Tracy, talking to me in the latter half of the video.
Saying what? I mean, what's their rationale for this?
They had none. They just said that they needed to take the blood and that there was civil remedies, and you know, if they were doing something illegal, it was like the fruit of the poisonous tree. And basically they were just, once I realized it, I just thought, these guys don't have any, they are going to get what they want no matter what.
So this video that we're watching, this is the officer's body cam, is that right?
Yes.
And this all happened July 26th.
Correct.
So more than a month ago.
Yes.
So why now has it just been released?
I feel pretty strongly in just having sort of a good, strong ability to stand up without emotion, and I needed to afford myself some time to feel okay and to be able to talk pragmatically about the situation without the emotion that I completely understand that the country at this point, since it's a national thing that the country is still dealing with, that I've been able to have dealt with and I'm still dealing with.
In other words, you were able to get the body cam video. You got your hands on it legally. You're allowed to have this.
Correct.
And you waited until you felt that you were together enough to talk about it.
Correct.
Why? What has this past month been like for you?
It's been tough. I mean, one of the other reasons we went forward was we made sure that the body cam was available. We wanted to see what it was that was on there. we spoke with the Salt Lake City Police Department. Our initial meeting, the chief of police apologized to me personally, and I accepted his apology.
Deputy chief of police.
Sorry, deputy chief of police.
And what did he say to you?
He just said that this should never have happened, and I agreed with that. And then we started making conversation about how to prevent this from ever happening again. Unlike the conversation we had a week later with the university police and the university security, who, after about a 45-minute conversation, still had not apologized. And when I brought it up, continued to defend their officers, and I just didn't feel like that was appropriate.
Kara, what are her legal remedies, if any?
Oh, she has a lot of legal remedies. But at this, I mean, obviously, there's the possibility of a lawsuit if that becomes necessary.
Against the officer?
Well, against the city, the officers, the university, police. You know, there are quite a few. I mean, down the road.
When you say if it becomes necessary, what are you going to hinge that on? What are you waiting for?
Well, I think we're going to give everyone involved an opportunity to do the right thing without having to be dragged into court to do it.
And what would the right thing look like, Alex?
Well, right now, I'm trying to formulate that, but currently my mission is to re-educate. As officers and as healthcare workers, we have to work together on behalf of our citizens, our friends, our people, the people that we live with. And if we are going to have that dialogue and we're going to be able to have that teamwork and camaraderie, we have to be able to come to the table and have appropriate dialogue.
And you are starting that today by speaking out about this and everything
you.
that we've seen. Best of luck. Obviously, we will follow your case very closely.
Thank
Alex,
you very
thank
much.
you. Kara Porter, thank you very much.
Thank you.